Hello, hello, it's Kylie here, Kylie the Author Whisperer, and I'm coming Facebook Living at a little bit of a different end of the day. Well, it's not really, it's just a few hours earlier than I normally do. I thought I would try something new, and I'm doing it I'm like literally about to, this is how naughty I am. It's whatever time it is, 10 o'clock, I haven't had breakfast yet. And I'm about to do some exercise, and then I'm going to have breakfast. It's a cruisy day for me. I was going to have a friend come over for lunch, but now she's not able to, so I'm like, I've got all this spare time now. So I thought, well, I'm going to say hey and pass on this message that I guess has come to me. Come on, Facebook. I need to make this happen. Yeah, okay, so this message, so this morning when I was doing my writing, one of the things that I love doing is kind of finding patterns and seeing how things weave into one another. And when you step back and you've got a bit of a bird's eye view, it's amazing what connections you can make. And that is one of the things that I super love doing. And is this actually going on the right page? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. Come on. Sorry. So I did this exercise the other day, and then I did it again today. And I want to share it with you because I think it is really useful to bring levels of richness to your writing. And to kind of give what you are putting in your book, making it really personal without kind of forcing with just being really authentic about it is probably the best. Is that what we're doing now? Yeah, it says it is. Okay. I'm not even in the screen on the face of that. That's really stupid. Okay. So what I did first of all the other day was I went through, and I love doing this exercise. I've done it many times over my life. And what it is looking at all the people who have influenced and inspired me. And I have to say, let me just do that. So, post sharing in my group. I love going through and having a look at all the people who've inspired me. Yeah, so right from one of my earliest memories started with one of the most inspirational women who was the headmistress of my primary school. And believe me, she was not the usual headmistress. And she, amazing woman. Her name is Mug. And she was this kind of, just had so much vitality. And she completely believed in the children. She never called them kids, she called them children. And I actually went and visited her. I visited her a few years ago. She was still living on the property of the school because her home was on the school property. And I think she was 96 or 98 when I went and visited her a few years ago. And it was hilarious. She said, I've got no time for anyone over the age of 6. She said, what's wrong with everyone? They're all like, they're all just, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said, I want to start a revolution. Like, I mean, this is the kind of woman she was at 96. So you can imagine what she was like when I was at primary school. She was a force. She used to have these stray dogs that were like almost rabid. They were really... She had this dog called Randy that she kept him in a cage on the school grounds, and if you walked past that cage, this dog would throw himself trying to kill you. And like, this is in a primary school. That was the 70s. Oh my God. And then she had him out, and he'd bite kids all the time. And she'd tell the kids off for it. Look, I mean, that was just an example of how unique she was. And so she was my first inspiration, but I have had many more than that. Pretty much every step of my life, there's been someone there who I've just been like, oh my God, this person is incredible. So the exercise is going through and listing all these people from that earliest time, and then going back over it and pulling out maybe the book you're writing now, or the book that you want to write, pulling out the aspects of these inspirational people and how the influence they've had on you, or the things about them that you admired the most, how you are bringing that to play in your current book. Now, this is really powerful, and just doing this exercise is going to, you know, you sort of sit back after a while, because it's incredible what kind of connections you start making. Because, you know, if you just sort of intellectually sit back and think, oh yeah, there was her, and there was him, and there was that person, and this person, and that person, oh yeah, like we can all easily do that. But when you actually write it down, journal it out, and make a list of all the people, sort of, you know, I did it chronologically from Mug, my headmistress, the indomitable, anyway, you know the word, the indomitable Mug, that was her name. Margaret Little was actually her name, and Mug was what we called her. And she didn't suffer fools, and she was just so unique. And anyone who went to Press Hill in the probably 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s or 90s would have experienced her and know exactly what I'm talking about. She was the kind of person you probably either loved or hated. I absolutely adored her. She used to teach us Latin. This is like little grotty 6-year-olds. She would teach Latin in her personal sitting room, which was filled with stuffed Victorian furniture, like antique kind of furniture. And, you know, we'd all be sprawled, these little 6-year-olds sprawled all over her sitting room furniture, you know, picking our noses, no doubt, and she'd be teaching us Latin. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of, I loved that. And then, yeah, anyway, a million stories I can think about her. The point is, do this exercise for your own life, and just think of the people who have been influential, and what is it about them that you loved? What is it about them that you can think of, there's a pattern between these people. Maybe how are they, you know, this book that I'm currently writing, or that I'm thinking about writing, how are these people influencing this, and how can I bring to bear the message that I got from them into my current book? Now, if you start doing that, the patterns you will see are quite incredible, because obviously all these people, I'm sure they'll be very different people, but it is really powerful to realize that there is common threads, because it's all how they interacted with you, and it's all your interpretation of it. And although they may have influenced you in 5 or 6 or a dozen different ways, the threads that you can pull out and bring together to show to weave a tapestry that you can then bring into your book. It will make your writing richer. It will make your book more authentic. It will actually make your book like definitely deeper and more personal. Yeah, that's probably the biggest one, more personal, because the way that all of those different people have influenced you, of course, is entirely unique, and that is what made you you. That is what, you know, probably if these people were truly influential, that's probably what you're bringing to bear in your writing. That's why you're sharing this stuff, or you know, what it's got to do with that. So That is really powerful stuff. So that is an exercise, and I'm trying to think what I actually called this live stream. I can't remember now. I know when I shared it I called it this, but I had another idea when I was... Oh, yeah, everything's brought you to this moment. Okay, yeah. So there was something else I wanted to talk about too, which was not just the people, but yeah, the experiences as well. I think the mentors is a really good exercise. It's very concrete and very, I don't know, for me personally, I find it quite easy to go back chronologically in my life and you know, think of the people that, you know, I had, as I said, I had Mug in high school, in primary school, then I had different people in high school. All through my studies, there was always one person in the college that I studied at, or one teacher that really stood out, you know, who I would just go to the ends of the earth for, and just lapped up everything that they did and had so much respect for them and, you know, emulated them and all that kind of thing. I think every aspect, every stage of my life, there's always been that person. So naming them, of course, having huge gratitude towards them is powerful too. But then looking for the common threads, really powerful, really powerful. Now, this is an exercise that I sometimes do. Of course, I do it myself on my own, and I encourage you to sit down with your journal and do it. But when I work with people one-on-one as a trainer, as a coach, what we do is sometimes they'll go through and they'll list me their influential people, the mentors in their life. They'll go through and they'll list them. And I'll do a bit of brainstorming with them. Well, how have these people influenced you? What was it about that person that you admired so much? What was the thing that you wanted to emulate about them? And so I will sometimes be able to see the common threads where it's a bit difficult for you to see them yourself, just simply because, you know, you're either very used to seeing them, you're very familiar with them, or because sometimes the commonalities are not that obvious. But when an outsider looks at them, or someone who isn't personally involved, and it's definitely one of the skills that I have, is being able to kind of see, okay, well, so you had this person and you really admired her because she, let's say, I'll give some examples. So just say you had a teacher at school and you really admired them because they stood up for you when another teacher said something bad, and they kind of had your back. So that might be one person, or, you know, one of the main things that you admired about this person. And then at a later point in your life, you might have had a friend who was, you know, really had always said exactly what they thought. I don't know. And then maybe another point in your life, you had let's say, I don't know, like a teacher who was completely weird, but they didn't even care that they were weird. And you loved them because of it, or despite it. Now, you might tell me those stories and I'd have a look at them from outside and go, okay, so what is the common thread here? How can you draw from that the things that you found inspiring about these different people, and how can you bring that into your writing, into your book, to make it more you, to make it more authentic, to make it more to make it resonate with your audience more. So I guess in those examples, I would look at, this sounds like people who really believe in themselves. I don't know. That's what I'm sort of thinking here. That might be the common thread I would pull out of it. All of these people really believed in themselves enough to, what can we say? Enough to risk being judged or risk being ostracized. Like, say, the teacher, they stood up for you, so they risked being ostracized or told off by the other teachers or whatever. The friend who always said what they thought, again, that's someone. And then I can't remember what the last one was, but that, you know, so I guess the point is that as a coach, I help you find those common threads. And then, of course, the most important step is, how do you then weave that into your writing? How do you then bring all of this stuff to bear in the book that you're writing, or the book you're thinking about writing? What about that is going to resonate with your audience. So that then brings in a third layer, and that is, you know, who is this book for, and what's the objective of it, and then how does that information that we just kind of uncovered and discovered, how can we use that to make it a richer experience for your audience? That is the key. That is kind of like, I don't know, what can we say? That is the magic. That's where the magic happens. When you're able to do that, it kind of unlocks some pretty cool things, and it allows people to connect with your writing on a far deeper way. It allows you to write a book that has such depth and meaning to you, that you really, you know, kind of are able to express yourself and share maybe even deeper stuff that you wouldn't have otherwise thought. So that is the exercise that I'm going to suggest you do now. So if you've just joined, this is what it's about. It's about working with, looking at who your mentors are, looking at what the commonalities are between how they influenced you throughout your entire life. And when I say mentors, I am using that term loosely, because they might just be people that you really admire. They might just be people that you crossed paths with briefly, but they made an impact. They left their mark on your psyche. They kind of influenced you in a really positive way. So you do that exercise. You look for the common threads, and then you look at how this common thread, how it's going to influence the writing that you're doing now, how you can bring that to bear so that you have a richer book. So that is such a cool exercise. I've done it several times over the last few weeks. I've done it over the years many times, but I guess I've been doing it a bit more structured, and that's what I've been sharing with you today, the structured way of helping this information influence and dictate, or what's the word, help your writing to become really what you want it to be, help it to become something really special. So I hope you found that interesting. It's been fun sharing the time with you, and my coaching packages are still available at a reduced price. I'll probably have this open for the next few days, which is where you can either have a single one-on-one session with me, or you can buy a pack of 5, and they are going to be at a drastically reduced price from what they usually are, and you have 12 months to use those. Although, believe me, if you are in the midst of writing, or you're about to getting start writing, you'll definitely use them faster than that, but you don't have to. I've had a few people asking me about this because they're like, oh, I'm not quite ready to start, but I'd like to lock in those prices now, as opposed to, like, as I've said, in 2018 when the prices do increase. So a lot of people have done that, thinking that, you know, maybe they're not going to use them for the next month or so, but, you know, they're getting them at that reduced price. So if that sounds interesting and you'd like me to work with you on this kind of stuff to help you bring richness to your writing, and help you explore some of these things, of course, I'm very able to help you with a lot of the practical aspects of self-publishing as well. But I think, you know, a lot of people are using my coaching for kind of getting more into the mindset aspect, or what could we say, like you know, how do you reveal your authentic self in a way that feels safe, which maybe it doesn't, but in a way that you're okay with, and why that's important, and how you can make that it's become a benefit to not only you but your audience as well. It's a two-way thing. So if all that stuff sounds interesting, I would love to support you on that journey. If you are interested in finding out about my coaching packages, which are on special at the moment, please just send me a message and I will get back to you with all the details. So as I said, that is only going to be for the next little while that reduced prices on. But anyway, it's been awesome to share the time with you, and if you haven't seen the whole thing, go back and watch the replay of the live stream, because that was where I really got into detail about how you work with, how you use your past history mentors to influence your current writing and make it deeper and richer. And I think that is a really powerful exercise. All right, guys, it has been awesome spending the time with you, and don't forget, Your story is, the world is waiting for your story. Your story is important, so you need to write now. Bye.